So I had some interesting comments on the video I did on the OPO7 and fake parts and bad parts and things like that. And some of the questions had to do with, why isn't China building good parts, right? They know how to manufacture inexpensive things. They have the labor pool and stuff, and they do have companies that build parts in China. So why aren't there Chinese op amps that you can go buy very, very cheap? And, why China fake stuff is a different issue, but why can't we go buy better parts from China? And a viewer of mine sent me a link to a company that does just that. So I wanted to take a look at it, and I found out some interesting things. Let's first take a look at the OPO7 that we're trying to, let's say, replace. Okay, let's say I'm an engineer, I have a product, I learned that the OPO7 is an old part, I can't get it any longer. Maybe it's too expensive. Maybe I want to get it in a surface mount package now or whatever, right? It's just an older part. So I need to look at some data. Why am I using this part in the first place? Well, first and foremost, if you're going to choose an op amp like this, you have a very particular need for it. It's not a jelly bean op amp. It's not something you would just choose randomly. You really choose this because of the low offset voltage. In fact, it's the very, very first feature here in the on the data sheet. It says features, low V offset. 75 microvolts maximum. That's maximum. Okay, it's much better than that usually. And then low drift, 1.3 microvolts per degree C. Very, very stable. It's very low noise. It has a good dynamic input range and stuff. It's tested at 125 degrees C. It's a very, very rugged part. It's a very important part. So, applications, instrumentation and stuff. But you can imagine maybe I'm going to be using this to monitor somebody's heart rate or blood oxygenation level or something. And I need to have a good part, and I need it accurate. So you would choose an expensive part. This is not a cheap part. This is an expensive part. So you had to have a very, very good reason to put it in your product to begin with. All right, let's take a look at another sheet, a data sheet that another viewer pointed out to me. And that is this part. They said, why don't you just use an ADA 4077? Now, I didn't even know this part existed, okay, because I haven't designed electronics for decades and decades, and I've just been doing garage stuff, right? But there's a whole bunch of new parts out, right? And it's very, very interesting. If you take a look at this data sheet, right here in the lower right, it says this is the evolution of parts by analog devices, right? There was the OPO7, is the first generation. The OP77 is the second generation. I have heard of that part. Third generation was the OP177, then OP1177, and then 808677, and now sixth generation. So 6 generations ago, ADA4077. So it's a direct lineage to the OPO7. So this is the most modern OPO7 you can buy. Okay, so let's take a look at this part. Very, very first thing in the feature set, offset voltage. 25 microvolts for grade B. Now it comes in different grades too. You can get 25 microvolt parts, 50 microvolt parts, all kinds of different parts, surface mount parts. It has all that good stuff in it as well, right? Long-term drift, 10,000 hours, half a microvolt. It's just a wonderful part, right? And so if you need a part like this, yeah, this is your part, right? This is what you need to do. So let's take a look at a data sheet. Look at this. Here's the distribution of offset, right? So you can see that most of the time you're right around 0 or 5 microvolts. So, even if you bought a bunch of these parts, you could cull them, right? You could test them in-house and throw away the other ones. Say, I don't want those. I'm just going to use the very best ones. And then you wouldn't have to trim, right? That's one way to do it. So anyway, if we go down this data sheet, you will find that the test conditions are very wide, minus 40C to plus 25C. So let's take a look at the specifications here. Let's say we have let's pick an A grade part. And it is 15 microvolts, typical 50 microvolts maximum, okay? But take a look at the next line, okay? It says that over minus 40C to plus 125C, they will guarantee 105 microvolts maximum, right? So they test the wafers at 125C and make sure this happens. So yeah, these are very nice parts. And then there's a whole bunch of other numbers in here, right? You sort of need to be an electrical engineer to read these numbers, but a lot of good things, right? And at different conditions too, like not only at not only a range of frequencies, but individual frequencies. They'll do testing and stuff. And then we'll take a look at absolute maximum ratings and stuff, pinouts and things. All right, so that's just part of the data sheet. Then it gets into the real nitty gritty of data sheets. This is what electrical engineers, pore over. They look at these graphs and stuff. This is all the test conditions they've determined for this part. Different operating conditions, different things they've found out. How does the thing, work over voltages, work over temperatures, work over different conditions, and you can kind of get trends. So you can say, okay, it's this thing's going to droop on me, right? Or there's some certain range where I want to stay below that range, right? Like this load, I want to probably stay definitely below 10 milliamps load, and then the thing kind of explodes. There are all of these wonderful graphs of every single thing that you might care about this part. And you can go through here and you can kind of find out what it is that you need to know. Now, every application for very fancy parts are going to be different. So you need to really go through these data sheets. And then it maybe some good application notes as well for these fancy parts. There's a lot of times really good circuits and information on how to use these sorts, maybe for a particular reason. Okay, did the OP07 have all that stuff in it back in the old days? Yes, it did. It had lots of data, it had lots of graphs, it had lots of charts, it had lots of everything. It had all kinds of ways to use it and everything. It was a very, very nice, very nice data sheet. All right, so when I asked somebody, they said, yeah, China makes good parts. And I says, well, I would like to know, give me a part number in the data sheet for an op amp that could do this stuff and would be cheap enough. And so they pointed me to this part, made by Cosine. I've never heard of Cosine before. It's a COS 77. It looks like kind of a drop-in replacement for an OP07. It's 36 volts. 2 megahertz. The very first feature is low offset voltage, 50 microamps maximum, low drift, 0.2 microvolts per degree C. This thing sounds great. This sounds exactly what I've been looking for, right? And, it talks about common mode rejection. It looks like a cut and paste from a OP07, 77, right? It looks like this is what they were trying to go for. This is the type of op amp they were trying to achieve. And, it has the same pinout as a 77. Now let's take a look at its data sheet. Here are the absolute maximum ratings. Offset voltage, plus or minus 15, plus or minus 50. Let's see, at what condition? This is at 25C. All right. So if you look up at the top here, whenever you read a data sheet, make sure you figure out how these numbers were derived. So this is the voltages going in are plus or minus 15, and the load was 10 kiloohms. And so this 50 volts microvolts maximum is only at 25C. We don't know what it does at anything higher than that. The input voltage drift does have a number of has a temperature range number. That's good. 1 nanoamp input bias. That's the same as an OP07. Wait a minute. Where's the rest of the data sheet? Here's the application notes. Okay, maybe they're down at the bottom. What is this? Driving capacitive loads. Oh, we don't really care about that. We know that we know that about op amps. Power supply bypassing. Add a capacitor. Yeah, we already know that. We're an electrical engineer. Here's how to do a diff amp. Yeah, we know how to do it. Here's how to do a Allen key filter. Yeah, we know how to do that. If you take a look at every single data sheet this company makes, it has the same boilerplate. This is how you bypass. This is how you do a differential. This is how you do a Allen key. It's just cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. They're not giving you any information at all about maybe the particular uses of this thing, right? But that's it. There's no data sheet. There's no graphs. There's no temperature data. There's no nothing data on this. There's no nothing. So okay. So a lot of times there's a marketing data sheet and then a technical data sheet. So I figure, well, maybe I can just find the technical data sheet. And so, okay, well, what is this place? This place, oh, here we go. www.cosine.ic.com. Okay, great. We'll go to their website. Maybe they have application guides, all that other kind of stuff. Let's go to the website. All right. So Cosine also has these Chinese companies always have multiple names. So Cosine is also Qishan Chuang Qingchuang. I don't know. I can't pronounce Chinese. Professional casts quality. Okay. Here we go. Oh, op amp series. Okay, great. Let's go to the op amp series. Operational amplifiers. Okay, they have op amps. Oh, here we go. Low noise, micro power, high speed, general purpose. Here we go. 36 volt high precision op amps. Okay. And yeah, the COS 77 does not appear anywhere on their website. So maybe that's a discontinued product. I don't know. And if you click on any of these things, you get nothing. There's no way to get any technical information at all on their website. No technical information at all. All right. So the only thing we can do is buy it. So let's say, oh, we want to buy this one. We get to this website and we get to a particular part. And then we go to that model. And then we look at this and we look around and still looking for data sheets or anything else here. Oh, wait a minute. Data sheet. Download file 1. Okay. Download file 1. Great. Okay. Let's see if this data sheet's any better. Nope. Same thing. One page of technical information that's only at one temperature. And then they go right into, oh, here's how to drive a capacitive load. Oh, here's how to bypass. Oh, here's how to do diff app. Oh, here's how to do a Allen key. We don't care. So there's no information at all. So now I'm thinking, well, what's going on with this thing, right? So let's go back. Let's go back to the data sheet. All right. And look at this. Look at this down here. Okay. Copyright 2018. So this is a pretty new part. Cosine Nanoelectronics Inc. Huh. Different name, different company. That's interesting. Wonder what that's all about. All right. So then I look up Cosine Nanoelectronics Limited, the Hong Kong corporation, and it's been dissolved. So the company ran for 2 years and then it got dissolved. Yeah, that doesn't give me warm fuzzies. So they moved to Shenzhen. They got bought by the Chinese government. They're somewhere, something else now. I don't know. Okay. So what have I learned? I learned that I can't get a good data sheet, at least not easily. I learned that the company is hard to figure out who they are. Even if you go to the company's website and you hit on About Us, it doesn't give you a lot of information. It says it's an innovative company and it has strong research and development strengths. And this is an interesting comment right here. The core technical team is from a famous foreign RF analog integrated design company. And then the website is truncated. I can't read anymore. The website's screwed up. Anyway, I think it's the translation from Chinese to English it screws up. Anyway, a core team from a different, so did they poach people from another company? Did that other company fire people and this company got them? I've been at companies where intellectual property has been actually stolen and taken back to China, and the company has gotten the FBI involved and arrested people for doing that. So it's not a kidding thing. It happens all the time. Our servers, we were growing a particular semiconductor material. Our servers had online monitoring. They got hacked by the Chinese. to go look at the data. So this stuff happens all the time. um, anyway, do I think this company is shady? I have no idea. What I do know is I can't find any information about them other than something got dissolved at one point in time. I can't find anything about this. I don't know who the directors are. I don't know who owns the company. I don't know if they're traded on the stock market or they're a private company. So what am I to do? If I'm in the garage doing stuff, okay, you can do anything you want. But if I'm a company and I want to use their part is cheap and their part looks good. I can't find a data sheet. Okay, but what if I buy the part? Will I be able to buy the part 5 years from now? Will I be able to support my customers long term? Will I be safe? Do they have an IP portfolio, an intellectual property portfolio, patents and all this other stuff? Or will I be subject to maybe being sued? Now, when I was working at Hewlett Packard, we were building the optical mouse sensor. And it got cloned by a company in China, and they were selling optical mice with patent infringement. And we can't sue them because they're in China. But what we did do is when they sold the product to Best Buy, and Best Buy said they're going to sell it, we sued Best Buy and said, that part infringes on these problems, and we will take you to court unless you stop selling that part. And they did. So there's different ways to protect yourself, and patents mean different things in different countries. Anyway, I'm very, very nervous to use this part. All right. So my reach out to my viewers is, I know China builds good parts and there are good companies. So let me know. Let me find more of them out. This one was a no-go. This one's, I'm sorry, can't touch this one. But maybe there are others, so people can let me know. Thank you.